Brandon.
And I'm Brandon.
And welcome back to Apollo City Comics. We are excited for today's episode. It's a series we've been wanting to touch up on for a long time. And it's pretty exciting because we have a very special guest with us today to go over one of the dopest books visually I've seen in years. I don't know. This is hard to top. But first, as always, a friendly reminder. If you're reading your comic books, why not read them with a cup of coffee? And you can get that from coffeeandacomic.com. Go hit up our boy. He'll set up a pull list for you. I know, printing is getting really rough with some books. I know ordering books from your local comic book shop can be kind of tough sometimes. Just shoot them a pull list and you'll get all those variant covers you want. You get your bags bagged and boarded when they're shipped to you. And you get coffee in your order. Well, what else do you need in life? Like, literally, you're just paying for comics and shipping, and you're getting, like, bags and boards, coffee. Like, this guy's giving you coffee to enjoy, and he's sharing that love with you. Go hit up coffeeandacomic.com. And also, go hit up our other friends.
And if you want some comics to read with those other comics and to, I guess, read while you drink that coffee, you can check out Lesser Known Comics. Our good friends that you've heard about plenty times before. Again, they've just wrapped up that Kickstarter. I think as of now of recording, the books should be shipping within 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Said February.
Yeah, depend. Yeah.
Either way,
you should have them.
Yeah, by the end of February. Whenever this comes out, it should be shortly within that time span. But yeah, go ahead and check out everything that. Yeah. Go ahead and check out everything that Lesser Known has released. They have more books on the way. They have plenty of books to choose from. I believe that you can get most for free still, but some are costing a little bit of money.
Mm-hmm.
Last I checked on the website. Each book depends on the price, but if you back their Kickstarter, you definitely get whatever you paid for, especially with the tiers. So definitely check them out. They're amazing people. They're awesome people, and they're people that are worth checking, like just reading, because they're giving you a chance to read some books that are literally free for a good amount of them.
And they have a bunch of new creators on their line. So all the books that are for sale, you're actually helping other independent creators kind of get their name out there.
It goes directly to them.
So, and you know what? For both Coffee and a Comic and Lesser Known, we have coupon codes at the bottom, 10 to 15% off your order. So type those in, get yourself a discount, and get yourself some Coffee Comics. Dude, like literally, like we want you guys to read. We don't get paid for these ads.
Yeah, we don't get paid. We're not trying to like do anything wrong here. We just want you to read comics, and we're just trying to help our friends
at a cost-efficient way. Well, and you know what? Well, while you like and subscribe to our channel, go check those guys. They have YouTube channels out. They have Instagram pages.
Profiles.
Yes, go subscribe to all their stuff. See all the cool stuff we're talking about. We're not bullshitting. So today I would like to finally have him on the show. An amazing, awesome host, and there's gonna be a link to his show across the Bifrost below. We have our good friend Ryan. Ryan, hello.
Hey fellas,
welcome to the show.
It's good to finally be on the show,
dude. We have been on your show before, and
yes,
we
you have.
kickstarted it with Donny Cates' first Thor run, and
yes, we did.
Was it? Why do I want to say the Devourer King?
We did a 3-part epic covering the Devourer.
It was called the Devourer King. All right, cool.
Yes. So Thor versus Galactus versus the Black Winter, all sorts of great stuff.
And everything kind of just rolled together because, I'm going to be on your show. I don't know if by the time this episode out, it might be out, it might not be out. But we're covering the first run of Jason Aaron's Thor too. And all three of these books all connect to each other. So that's why we try to make this trifecta of, what is it called? The All Blade, basically? This should be the All Blade Chronicles or something. We should have given it a dope name.
Chronicles. There you go.
Dang. Brandon's trying to write himself into a job.
Yeah, right? But let me just throw out there that, like, something about Donny Cates' characters and his stories, or not characters he created, but the characters he's worked with. It's like brought Brandon and I together.
Yeah.
Brought Ryan and us together.
Holy crap, bro.
And we've come full circle where we've gone from Venom, if you check out literally my first episode on the show, to Ryan's podcast, Across the Bifrost, where we did the Black Winter, and then now here we are again with I guess we could say it, Silver Surfer Black, right?
Yeah, I forgot we haven't even talked about this.
Yeah, we haven't even said what we're reading.
You see
So
the
it's
episode title, man.
it's one of those things, you know. It's just it brought us together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's such like a nice variety of characters. You know, you're getting Venom, Thor, and Silver Surfer. 3 characters that don't really cross paths very often or very connected in any sort. And it's cool stuff to pull out of the hat. But you know what? Let's dig in. You know, as I should have actually been showing this. You know, those for those of you who are watching the YouTube video. I didn't break out my single issues to like open them up because I have the Donny Cates Omnibus. How did you guys read it?
Single issue.
No, there was a Donny Cates omnibus.
Yeah, it's like a cosmic omnibus or something.
Yeah. It's pretty sweet. And you know what? Like I'll show you guys on camera too. Because I know it's only being recorded. Hey, you know what? I'm gonna before I show you that, the stupid Mary Jane variant. Why did that have to come out with this series?
They were pushing like Mary Jane variants at that moment.
Yeah, it pisses me off.
It was-
Like I hate that
the anniversary.
I got that. So whoever made that decision, thanks.
I don't have a slick, cool Donny Cates omnibus, but I do have Marvel Unlimited on my iPad.
Nice. There you go.
So that's how I'll be enjoying it tonight.
And you know what I like about the omnibus is the front and back of it, because you know you have the slipcase folder that shows all his characters he's worked on, but this one you get some really awesome Trad Moore.
Oh,
I think
stop.
it's issue 3 that this scene happens in. And it's
oh my
just
gosh, I can't wait to get to some of this art.
yeah,
Ooh, spoilers.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, let's dig right in. I am gonna preface by saying this book, you kind of you don't need to, but it kind of makes more sense if you read Guardians of the Galaxy issue 1
Yeah.
at very minimum. It does lead into this, why all these characters that kickstart the story right now, why they're gathered together. And I don't know, do one of you guys want to go over that part? Do you guys remember that aspect of it very much?
Wait, Ryan, did you read his Guardians?
I did not read the Guardians issue I think it's footnoted in here.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I did not go back and read that.
Okay, so this is one of those terrible moments where I remember the gist of it, but I don't remember everything because I read like a million comics a week kind of thing. But I did read the single issues. Have you read it, Brandon?
Yeah, I have the hardcover of it.
Okay.
It's dope. I really liked it.
It's an interesting book because he really does some deep cuts with who he makes the Guardians of the Galaxy in that book. But long story short, they get thrown into a black hole.
Yeah, they're all gathered together because Thanos is dead.
Yeah.
And then
And it's like his funeral with like an AI replica of his conscious or something.
he's like giving his like last will and rights,
Yeah.
basically. He's like sending him a message. And so that's why all these people are gathered, because they're thinking that like his consciousness has shifted into somebody else, and they're thinking it's going to go into Gamora. And I'm kind of showing it right now on the YouTube channel if you guys end up are watching it visually. But that's why all these characters are gathered. And the Black Order pops up, and they end up infiltrating some stuff, and it makes like their ship blow up, and there's like a cosmic black hole. Great
Yeah.
timing, and they're trying
Like
to
I
get the
said-
body of Thanos. And literally like there's a scene right here where they're going into the black hole, and you see Stormbreaker fly through, and that's where they're all getting yanked out of it. So in a few pages, when we kick it up, you'll see why Silver Surfer didn't make it out, and why the rest of the Guardians pulled back through. And so you can kind of read these 2 series together.
Yeah.
Okay.
But dude, kickstarting it, I mean, Donny Cates, Trad Moore. I'm spacing out the colorist so hard.
It would
Dave
be
Stewart.
Dave Stewart.
Yeah, there you go. So I mean, dude, page 1, I mean, just gorgeous. I can't even, like, how do you get a cooler Galactus and Silver Surfer pose? His Tradmore's artwork has such fluidity to it that it feels kind of when you look at a reflection or how things look against like silver, like metal and everything, that
Yeah.
weird puddle at the gas station with all like the rainbow colors and all that. Like that's
Yeah.
that's literally this book.
The effect that Silver Surfer gives off in this book is gonna be a weird comparison, but you can't unsee it when I say it. It looks like the T-1000 for Terminator 2.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
That is like the
Yeah.
easiest description I can give.
Dude, you're
I
right.
would have never put that together
You're
myself.
Yeah,
totally
when he's all
right,
like
yeah.
liquid metal or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man, that's how they're gonna make a Silver Surfer. If you guys are listening, just do the same thing you did with T2, but the whole movie.
Dude, that
about
movie
it.
came out like 50 years ago. You could fucking do it now.
yeah,
So-
like we've done it. Like just get James's team on that stuff. Like get that technology rolling.
A James Cameron Silver Surfer movie. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
god.
It'd be like a
Oh,
4-hour
God.
cut, and then he would make a sequel 15 years later.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, hell, if you're talking about billions and billions like Donnie does in this one. So, okay, my first little kind of ranting complaint is that, like, this book isn't, like, Donnie's best writing. It's very flashy writing. It's very, like, kind of almost trying to be Alan Moore kind of poetic with this character, which I can see, and it's a tough thing, by all means. I'm not saying any of this was easy. But, it's, like, when you talk about structure and the way the arc is with the character, it doesn't really pan out that well. Like it doesn't really go anywhere. It's really all just for oohs and ahs than it is for like building up the character in a sense. I don't know. I didn't really feel it as strong in this volume as I did. But I mean, the same thing with Guardians. This was all written around the same time, and Donnie was kind of like getting his feet on the ground before he started really taking off with Venom. And then I mean, Thor's fucking epic right now and shit.
Yeah.
But it's just it's not his pinnacle, and I feel like this should have been like his, I don't know, all-star in that sense.
The thing, and I feel like we should mention this. The thing with this book is that so it is definitely told like in like mostly first person monologue perspective
Yeah.
of Silver Surfer. But I think it's one of those things that you have to keep in mind. Silver Surfer was like Stan Lee's personal favorite
Mm-hmm.
creation, and it was like one of his most, and I'm not doubting any of Stan Lee's commitments to things, but it was the most like emotionally invested character he probably had on
Yeah.
his personal end. And I think with a character like Silver Surfer, there's not many books around the character because it, in a way, is daunting to write because this is such an important character to his legacy.
And I want to say this was being written or finished when Stan Lee died too. This was like in that time frame of, it was like the Silver Surfer book while Stan Lee passed, I want to say.
So interesting, like mentioning Stan Lee with the Silver Surfer. I did a little bit of a deep dive with the Surfer and kind of looked back through some of his history before we jumped on. And this, like, Jack Kirby and Stan Lee had their like historical massive differences that led to creator controversy and all that kind of stuff. But I think this was the character that broke Jack Kirby. When Silver Surfer shows up in the Galactus trilogy in Fantastic Four, so like Jack had drawn the Silver Surfer, and they're like, he should have a herald. Galactus should have a herald, and then this character spills out of that. Stanley wanted to do a Silver Surfer book. They do a Silver Surfer book, and they don't ask Jack Kirby to be the artist on it.
No, it was John
Instead,
Buscema.
John Buscema.
Yeah.
So, but if you like anybody out there that's interested in the Surfer, you should definitely go read about the first 3 or 4 issues of the OG Silver Age Silver Surfer run, because like his origin, the first appearance of Mephisto, like fantastic stuff. And then go read the last issue. The last issue is like the last thing Jack Kirby did for Marvel in that era, and it's a complete like middle finger to everything he wasn't allowed to do.
Oh wow.
And I was like, what a badass. Like he's already on his way to DC, and he's like 2 birds out the window, and then he goes and he writes New Gods, and he goes and does all that over there. Like Silver Surfer's not like, he's not without his controversy when it comes to his history.
Oh yeah, he's got emotional
Deeply
weight.
complex character.
So
I
I didn't
emotional weight behind the character.
I didn't know half of that, to be honest. I
didn't either. I'll own up to that.
Yeah, that was, and I'm like a Surfer fan, dude. Right here, there's a fucking Silver Surfer, Scott Williams thing.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's one of the variant covers I have too.
Nice.
Man, holy fuck! I want to read that last issue. So that you're talking about the last issue of the like the whatever 70s or 80s Silver Surfer,
Yeah.
right?
Well, so in the 60s and it's like the end of the Silver Age. It's the late
Okay.
60s.
I'll look it up right now.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about dates, but they only did 18 issues of that Silver Surfer run because most of them were like double-sized
Oh
issues,
wow.
and they were very weighty. Like, it's lonely surfer out there, being the savior of the spaceways, and he's always kind of just sad sacking it. And I think the one bit of criticism that I've heard about that original run is that it doesn't really go anywhere. It's just Norrin Rad being, he's sad Rad the entire time. And then in that last issue, Jack gives him some character development, but the book was already being pulled. So, and then he popped around like the Defenders for a while with Doctor Strange and the Hulk and Submariner. He gets a longer series in the 80s or 90s, I believe. But that I think that went 100 plus issues. But the original series didn't really last that long. After they started,
and I think that other run was like post Infinity War or something.
Yeah, so there's
something like that because he got involved with Infinity Gauntlet and then Infinity War. Like he was all mixed up in that stuff. So I think that Infinity Watch is that what he also got mixed up in too. Because he was an Infinity Watch. I want to say with Home Slice, Adam Warlock.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna sound like the fakest fan ever, but is it Infinity War or Infinity Gauntlet?
It's Infinity. Oh wait, my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off. That what?
The most famous one, the one that Endgame is based off of.
Gauntlet.
It's Infinity Gauntlet, right?
Yeah. And then Infinity War was the series after that, and then an Infinity Saga or something. Which one? There's
Infinity Crusade.
Infinity Crusade. Okay.
Yeah.
It's just like fucking DC when they use Crisis for every goddamn fucking title. Like Marvel is just like Infinity this, Infinite that, because they did another one like 10 years ago with Thanos and where the Black Order comes from.
Yeah, that was Infinity.
That was Infinity. Yeah. Anyways, if I'm
and then Jim Starlin came back.
He did.
And he did like Infinity Saga. I don't know. I have a hardcover somewhere back here.
It's just too much of the same word with like one extra word added on there.
Yeah.
But
House of Ideas, my ass.
But Infinity Gauntlet, that was like the only major event he was really part of that like stuck, right? That people really note of.
I mean, I would say anything with Galactus, he's at least
involved in.
He's at least thought of or involved with.
Yeah.
But but I think you're right. Like all the Infinity stuff, he was there for. And there's just one like kind of Infinity related thing was in the original, I think it's the first volume of the What If comic.
Mm-hmm.
What If number 49 is entitled What If the Silver Surfer Possessed the Infinity Gauntlet, and it is a phenomenal read. Like it is, he basically becomes God, and he takes Thanos along for the ride. Like it's insane. But when you said Infinity Gauntlet, I was like, ooh, mention this.
Yeah,
damn, that's dope. I'd love to read that one, and I think that's been on my like watch list. But damn, I'm glad I have confirmation because I hate when you get to those good issues where you're just like, holy crap, this looks great.
You have to tread through freaking swampland of other issues.
Yeah, that or it's just like it's that 70s like writing where you're just like, dude, this is. Whew, you guys are just talking what's on the page right now.
Yeah, no, what I was getting at is that he's basically a character that, besides like the Stan Lee stuff and then like Infinity Gauntlet, he's kind of been in this weird limbo of like he's had series, he's appeared, he's kind of always there. I mean, he's in a Daredevil issue for like, I don't know if you ever read it, Ryan, but like
I need to read that right now.
So I forget which Daredevil, but I'm pretty sure it's Mark Waid. And then Silver Surfer just randomly shows up. He goes like, "Yo, I need your sonar vision to like help me." And then it's just like Daredevil on the front of the board riding with him, and I'm like, "Sure," But he's just one of those characters. He's just Silver Surfer is just like, besides the like what we mentioned, he's kind of just popped up here and there just randomly.
Yeah, I don't feel like they've cracked him completely because he has a bunch of short, You look at all of his runs, like you said, Ryan, he had the first 18 issues, and then he had one kind of longer one, 80s, probably early 90s. And then his TV show, his animated series, got canceled after one season, and that was a dope show. I'm not gonna lie. Like, if you guys want some Silver Surfer, that was a good one.
Yep.
And then you look at everything else. He had the Stanley Mobius book. Space. It starts with an R. I forget the name of it. Requiem. And then he has another one by Straczynski, Michael J. Straczynski, and that's like a 5-issue series. It's called, like, I want to say it's Rebirth, but I could just be a generic comic book title.
I think that might actually be Requiem. Hold on.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna do an
Apollo City thing. I'm gonna go find out.
Let me do some research on the show. Like,
look, it's painfully obvious. If we don't know, we just look it up. Okay.
We should have a segment. I don't know. Let's find out.
Requiem was J. Michael Straczynski.
There you go. Yeah. And that one was dope because it talks about why, like, his body is dying, and it talks about why he has a surfboard. It talks about, like, what his body is made out of and what it can handle and take and everything. And then he hangs out with Spidey for a bit, and then he lets Spidey touch the power cosmic, and Spidey just, like, sees the fucking universe, and his whole, like, mind is blown, and he's just like, "Thank you, dude." Like, and it's a great, wonderful, but it's all miniseries. Like, we don't get a whole lot of Surfer because I don't think they've really cracked him. And even like Brandon was saying, like, he does pop up in King in Black where everyone gets to see him, but for like one issue, and it's one of those.
He's just there out of nowhere.
The Mike Allred.
We cannot slip into a King in Black conversation.
I know that'll.
You won't get me back.
I also have the omnibus for the Mike Allred Dan Slott series that I'm excited to read. Because the Mike Allred, he's next to Trad Moore. Like, I don't know who has drawn Silver Surfer better at that point. It's kind of hard. Artists that take him on kind of kick ass. They know they have to do something cool.
Like, I think Surfer is one of those characters where, like, his basic design is so simple.
Yeah.
And, like, so you have the old school, like, obviously the Jack Kirby and the John Buscema, like, old school approach to him. But then, like, Mike Allred does it, and it's like, oh, this is new, and, like, it's bold lines and it's bright colors. And honestly, like, the biggest endorsement I can give for Silver Surfer Black is Trad Moore art. And this was really the last thing he did for Marvel. Like, he hasn't done anything really with Marvel since this. I mean, he and before this, he did a lot of Secret Avengers. He did a lot of Ghost Rider, Deadpool stuff. But, like, this is next level stuff. And I remember when I was reading this, I forget who I was messaging, but I was like, this is insane. Like, I can't stop reading this.
Yeah.
Like, I probably finished it in an hour, and I don't read comics that quickly, which was nuts to me. But this art style is just incredible. It's amazing.
Not the Marvel standard. You know what I mean? Like, DC and Marvel have their standard kind of look for all their books in a sense, but the unique ones, like, who's Esad Rubik and whatnot, like, his stuff is next level type of artwork, but it's only each major company only has like 2 or 3 of those guys working for them. Everyone else is Tony Daniel, what's the dude,
Michael Janin
that drew Michael Janin. Michael Janin does kind of fall into that too.
Yeah.
You're right.
Jason Fabok.
It's Jason Fabok. That's what I was trying to think of. Like, all of those look kind of the same. And, it's cool seeing this variety because it feels like independent books. And I think that's why people stray away from the mainstream, because you want to see this type of art in a comic book. Like, that's why you're reading the comic.
Yeah.
You want something insane. Let's jump into the book
yes.
And honestly, like, I'm glad we got to talk about Silver Surfer for a bit because, we're going to fly through this book. Not going to lie, the art speaks more than the story. The story is, like I said, very poetic. So each one kind of, I don't want to say drags. That's the wrong, not drags in like a negative way, but the story literally just says just drawn out throughout each issue.
It's just Silver Surfer being like super dramatic. Like, I hate to dumb it down that way, but like he's just like he's just like, oh, I'm flying through space. My love.
I feel its breath.
Yeah.
I find where it ebbs, where it turns, and in those turns, I find where
it's
it's
weak. Yeah. It's like.
But in a way, it's the most Silver Surfer like it can possibly sound. Like, I think though, just one thing I wanted to say before we've preambled so long here, but like Brandon hit the nail on the head earlier when he said like this is not the best Donny Cates writing, because like that's being done right now, like the Venom, King in Black, the end of his Thanos run, Thor. Of course, I'm a big fan of his Thor run, but like if his writing was crap, I would say that, and it's just not. But I think one thing, if you read Silver Surfer Black and kind of rewind a few years and realize that he hasn't hit his stride yet, you can start to see pieces.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, for sure.
Especially when he's talking, especially when Null shows up. Like Donny Cates, like I know he created Null and Null is his thing, but he really got his voice right. Even back in these issues.
Oh, totally agree with that. And that's the cool thing. I love seeing artists develop in that sense, like seeds being planted, seeing like them like level up with every story. When they kind of come out with a bang and then you expect everything to be a bang after that. Like if you read his Thor run first, I'm just like, I'm so sorry. Like you should have read like some of these other ones. I haven't read Death of Inhumans or some
it's cool.
some of his.
I mean,
yeah, you told me about it. Yeah. You hyped it up for me, I think.
Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Cosmic Ghost Rider is pretty cool. I never read his Thanos.
Yeah.
Thanos is really cool. I'm not gonna, that was good.
His Thanos run ends with maybe the most epic single issue of just random stuff
happening.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh, that, and then that, and then that, and then you're just like, and I'm tired. I gotta go take a nap.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. It was a shock. We should cover that one sometime for sure. It's one of those. But this one, I feel like he had a lot of ideas, and he was crafting this like new universe, because I passed like where he went through the wormhole and all that type of stuff. I'm like where he's standing in front of the gate, and he has the three warriors in front of him. Where Tradsmore's art, it kind of reminds me of the first time when you see Samurai Jack. You know what I mean? Like you were just blown away by this like art style. I get that unique vibe.
That's a great comparison.
Yeah, that's I think that's where it's like vibing with me in that sense, like where it's connecting with me. And these gatekeepers, I don't really understand them too much.
They listen to Null. I know that, but like,
yeah,
I think they're supposed to be like these weird extra dimensional. I don't know, like, I don't want to say entities, but some sort of life forms that are like guardians of some sort. They don't really. It's one of those things where it feels like he wrote in the script, alien warriors that look like 1800s,
kind of like card. They remind me of like a Victorian.
Yeah, that's
like,
what I'm saying.
Like a playing deck, like like king and queen type of
like a card deck.
And it's I don't know, it's an interesting battle for sure, but you don't realize. I don't know, I found it unclear that if they were preventing Silver Surfer from entering because they're stopping him from letting Null escape, or if they're there to protect Null, or if they're there just to like just guard it at that point, just purposeless.
I mean, either way, Surfer takes them out in a crazy way where he uses part of the power cosmic, and he like ignites a new star, and like that burns them away and defeats them. And then like kind of one of the sub themes of this limited series is his hand starts to go black, hence the title of the the series. And then he goes to that gate, and wouldn't you know who's there?
Yeah, this is the first we see of Null in this series. Which,
that's incredible. That's absolutely incredible.
The sword is the coolest it's ever looked at that point too. Like I love that stuff. I'm not gonna lie. Like so he used the power cosmic to, what does it say? The infant star I have birthed into being, from my power cosmic floats into the heavens to bring light into this world. From darkness light, with light a price. So that, his hand turning black, that's the part I'm just like, there could have been a better way. I don't know. I wasn't too sold on like what's happening to his body right now. Like what are your guys' thoughts on the black part of Silver Surfer Black.
To me, it seems like he's. So I don't know anything about Silver Surfer. I've literally never read a single Silver Surfer story, minus what we've mentioned already. And to me, it seems like there's some sort of energy he harnesses within himself, and something has happened going through that black hole where he siphons that energy to be used in some sort of like, I guess, like a weapon form. And then every time he exerts that energy, it kind of leaves him permanently.
I can see that.
And I know, like, normally that's not like, normally the power cosmic doesn't work that
Exactly.
way. He just is powerful, and like, if we could literally sit here for the next like 45 minutes just listing off Silver Surfer power set, like, he can just do anything.
Yeah.
Anything he needs to do, he just can. I think what makes this interesting is that something about going through that black hole and being confronted by Null, who, we know is the god of the symbiotes. And by the way, if you have not read King in Black, like, what are you doing?
Read that whole run.
Like, read King in Black, and Null becomes a lot more of an imposing figure after that series. But like, when he uses the power cosmic here, there's consequences to it, which is interesting because I think that's one of the cool kind of narrative shifts that Donny took with Surfer. Is he's not just powerful and then he stays powerful. At this point, when he uses the power cosmic, it's starting to almost eat away at him, which gives it stakes. And I think that's something that Surfer was missing for the longest time, was that using his power never really cost him anything.
So now he's like Spawn.
Is that really what happens with Spawn?
You know what?
Yeah, when he uses his power, he gets weaker.
Oh, I've never read more than like.
I think that makes heroes so much more interesting.
Yeah, there's a cost to what they can do.
Yeah.
You know?
Didn't Silver Surfer get his powers from Galactus?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
maybe this could be because Galactus doesn't exist technically in this time. That
I was thinking that too.
It could be some sort of paradox where he exists pre-Galactus, but he has powers from Galactus. So maybe it's limited from what he has.
Right, because we're gonna hit on that in a few issues.
But see, okay, and then like on issue 2, we kickstart it, and he's like crash landing. He's seeking out planets for Galactus, and he crash lands into the planet that was it Clytar or something like that?
Clintar or something.
That Clintar or something like that. It that's holding. And by the way, this fucking page is insane as shit. Like the like teeth coming out of the planet and like capturing Silver Surfer, and then you see Null like all Elric style, just like white and like naked, being strapped down like as prisoner. And like this is where I felt he was getting that power cosmic, because I don't know. I thought that's where the black would start infecting him because of this planet. Like it was a symbiotic kind of infection. But that was, I don't know, for some reason that's what I remembered, and that's what like I put together. Maybe that's just what made sense in my head at that time. But we're now like in the past, but not present, like the nearest past before we go back in time where the wormhole spat him out.
Yeah.
Fucking a trip. Like that whole explanation right there.
It is a little bit of a timey-wimey, bendy, like series, but I think like maybe a way to like simplify it is like a lot of the things about the universe, the Marvel universe, that you maybe assume have not happened yet. Like Brandon alluded to, like Galactus isn't around yet.
Yeah.
He's still incubating in being ready to become, the devourer of worlds. Like we only see a few characters, and even those characters, like, oh, like these are not like humans. These aren't other cosmic beings. Like Ego shows up at the end of the second issue, and you're like, oh, we're like talking that old. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's very true. And he uses millions and billions throughout the whole throughout the whole book describing
it. Almost feels like he didn't have notes. He just said, what sounds epic? Millions of years or billions of years?
Right.
Let's just say he went back pre everything. He just went back 50 or 50,000 billion years ago,
But you know what? Like,
On the 6th page of issue 2, the little box just says the dawn
Yeah.
of time.
dude, that 2-page spread is the background on my work
Oh.
computer.
Are you serious?
I put that, and it's funny.
That's
I'll like
amazing.
minimize stuff in a Zoom meeting with the client and be like, "Oops!" And it's like Nolan Silver Surfer fighting. And dude, I'd show you my phone, but I'm recording. But like, dude, the artwork for this book is always like a background for my phone. It always is. Like, it's astonishing.
Yeah.
One thing I would hope that we see more of in the future somehow is more of the Void Knight. How I want a fucking action figure of this. Like, why hasn't that happened? You know, like the Void Knight is the coolest. That version and Cosmic Carnage are the 2 Silver Surfer action figures that they have not put out that they need to already.
The Void
insane.
Knight only exists for like a page.
I know, sad.
But he exists. He exists in our
Yeah.
minds forever.
So
He's
that means
there
He's like,
that is an idea planted that someone needs to pick up and start writing that miniseries. That's the next Silver Surfer miniseries we need now.
he looks like a mix between, as long as we're comparing things to older movies, he kind of looks like a xenomorph from
Yeah.
Alien.
Yeah.
And I'm always here.
Yeah, the
for that.
board looks crazy too when you think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
man,
yeah.
like-
It's almost like a I don't know, like a sea creature with tentacles, and it is a
Fucking
sick design.
I kind of feel bad for the next artist who tries to draw that version, because Trad Moore's remixing a lot in his book. Like, he's getting the ideas and putting his spin on it.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
someone else is going to have to pull from Trad Moore's original idea and put their spin while having that same vibe, which will be interesting when we see it in the future. I'm sure they'll do it at one point. But I mean, this whole we see the dragon in this one too. I forget about that.
Right.
Damn. His designs are literally out of this world. When you think about it, it literally just looks like ink pens going through, And then when you look at like when Silver Surfer is reaching out when he's being chased by the dragon and he's in that little wormhole and he's reaching forward, the palm of his hand, that the colors that were going on, this reminds me a lot of like what J.K. Williams, and I should fucking know the artist who worked on this book, but Sandman Overture.
J.H. Williams the third.
Yeah, well, I don't know who did coloring. Did J.H. also do his coloring?
Let me see. I know exactly what you're talking about.
Because that book is phenomenal.
Is this the panel you're talking about?
That's the panel I'm talking about. Yeah.
That kind of sucks you in.
It does. It's very like 3D. Like, you kind of get lost in it.
The artist is J.H. Williams the third.
And he does his coloring in that book too?
I'm trying to. Well, if you go on Amazon, it's only listed with J.H. Williams and W. Hayden Blackman.
Who is he? I guess J.H. Williams did do the coloring in it.
I could be wrong.
Hey.
But from what I'm seeing here, at least on Amazon, that's all it's listed.
Yeah, I'd have to break it out. Someone in the comments let us know. We'll cover that book this year sometime, probably too.
You were talking about the dragon, though.
Yeah.
On that next page, like, that's just unfair. That's unfair. Good art.
This is like,
dude. Yeah,
you didn't have to go that hard.
It's like, Trad, slow down, man.
Yeah,
Like,
it's so. I mean, it's gorgeous. And then when you get to Ego, man, that final page, I remember staring at it for like 10 minutes because you're just, how could you not at that point?
Well, the other thing we can't ignore is like the coloring. Like,
oh yeah.
Oh, Dave Stewart did the coloring for Sandman Overture too.
Oh, really?
Dave fucking Stewart is like, no wonder. All right, that makes sense. Yeah, gotta just like do a deep dive on Dave Stewart at some point because his coloring, I think I've just declared is my favorite colorist.
Yeah, because
out there,
I think it's that. Like I said, I think it's that same team that worked on Batwoman that did Sandman, or at least the artist. So,
yeah, maybe actually, because that would totally make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I would totally see that.
That's how I remembered.
Issue 3 has my favorite Silver Surfer cover.
Oh, that shit is so sick.
Talk about something you could stare at for a while.
That was my phone background forever. Like it was just I needed to look at it as often as possible. It was so good. Even like his normal when you look at I'm totally spacing. I always space out the names because we're recording. What's his wife's name?
All a ball.
Shalabah. Yeah. When you looking at like his humanistic figures, they are beautiful. Like they
absolutely
like it's insane. His even fucking Norn Rad. Look at that. That guy's handsome as shit. Like in this book, like he is. That's a good looking bald guy. Like
that's like a '90s Billy Zane.
Yeah,
Did you just drop Billy Zane's name?
No, I picked it up.
Oh no! Came at us with the Billy Zane.
He's getting ready for the mummy. Like,
and the 2-page spread right here where it shows the planet, Zen Law, and just a Silver Surfer completely encompassed in the black. Dude, that being the like, the wrap of this book, like makes you want to tear up. Like I want this in a giant poster in a room. I don't give a fuck. I just want to stare at this all day. This is like Dr. Seuss on acid. Or just turned up to like 11. This is Dr. Seuss turned up to 11.
So in the 70s, Marvel did these blacklight posters. This needs to be a blacklight poster.
Perfect.
I mean, so one thing that, so I really haven't looked a lot at these issues since I read them about a month ago. But as I knew we were getting ready for this conversation, I just kept like swiping pages and kind of getting lost.
Yeah.
Like, talk about a book that you could, it's I don't know if this really works, but its rewatch value is so high for me because the art is so detailed. Like, seriously, how do you draw like this? How?
Yeah.
It seems inhuman.
I wonder if he's into a lot of
how
like
you could draw with that much detail.
oceanic drawings. When you think about coral reefs and stuff like that, maybe that's like a heavy inspiration looking at the ocean and how insane and like, space like, cosmic, like unknown and just bizarre the ocean really is when you start looking at details and how the ocean floor is shaped, how all that stuff is, all the creatures and everything, the way things kind of move in the water and might appear, looking at it through an angle. I think this is a fucking giant realization on the show right now. That had to be his inspiration behind his drawings. Like he must be really into that vibe.
The other thing with his art too that comes to mind, honestly, is it feels like cover art for the interiors.
Oh yeah,
it looks like
100%,
variant art or like cover art for issues that are like super over the top quality, but like for each page.
If you turn the page where it shows like Silver Surfer standing over Zen Law, and there's the panels, and his mouth is opening up with the teeth, and then like that, you're right. Every single panel on these 2 pages, those are all covered.
Yeah, they can be like variants
with Silver Surfer's arms. Like, yeah, these are all him screaming, dude. Even him screaming, Norrin Rand is like a great cover. I'd get a poster of that. That is beautiful. Like
so what you mentioned cover art. A lot of what Trad Moore did, like on other series that he wasn't like the interior artist was, he would do all the covers and stuff. Like, makes total sense. Like so this is on I think it's page 8. This is a small panel.
Yeah.
But like,
yeah,
that's insane. That's insane to me.
Dude, that's a fucking tattoo right there. I mean,
like I think what's crazy about this is, like, I wonder how long it took him to do all this.
I was thinking the same thing.
He's drawing a masterpiece.
Yeah.
Like, these are all masterpieces of art. And like the like, the Kirby collage style, like that, like, how do you even start thinking about like how you're going to draw Ego? But what you're going to do is I'm just going to zoom in on one eye. Like,
well,
damn, yeah.
It's also like, I want to know, I'm pretty sure there's something out there, but I want to know what the scripts look like like describing the panels. It's one of those things that
Yeah, their relationship. Like,
Yeah,
how much
like-
freedom
Yeah.
did the artist have versus Donnie's ideas?
and like the way things look, like how Ego's face kind of looks like it's just like how to explain. Like he almost looks celestial instead of
Mhm.
like a planet.
Oh, I see what you mean by that. Yeah, like I feel like Ego's face has more kind of like definition. Like it looks like a face.
Yeah, or
instead
like
of
a
kind of being
being of
blended in with the
energy too.
planet.
Like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because you
This
look
is
at his
trippy, man.
planet, the way it kind of curves to the side, the back of his head, where the planet doesn't even look complete. It's kind of like an ever evolving, like it's changing while we're looking at it. Especially on the next page you just showed, Ryan. It's like you see the front and back of Ego, and it's like there's a direct line going down it, and it's separating two different like textures. Dude, I don't know, and I don't feel like Ego's ever looked this complex before.
That's a complex is a very good way of putting that, because you have to take a look, and then you have to take a second look and a third look, and you're like, oh right, there's a face there.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it's like the attention to detail is just, it's next level. And I feel like normally if the three of us were talking about a Donny Cates written book, we'd be talking about the lines and the dialogue. We have not mentioned one bit of dialogue.
No, it's it's just the way it flows. It kind of maybe that was intentional too. Donnie's words as poetic and as like you literally glide through the story, and you're kind of gliding through the text because I think he wants you to be immersed by the art. I don't think Donnie wants to take over and be the star of this book, because in this instance, like it all goes to Trad and Dave Stewart. Like they are what make this book. And I mean, Donnie's words, I think, were just smooth enough for you to like read and maybe pace the story out. That could be a thing too. It's not your normal story structure because it's so paced out that he wants you to be immersed in the environment and what's going on. He doesn't want you to be too distracted with over the top storytelling and explanations and history. Like you literally kind of learn one thing per issue. Issue 1, he gets sucked through the hole, and we find out he spat out somewhere else, and we discover Null. Cool. Issue 2, he's battling Null and showing that there's a history between him, and then he needs to escape Null, in which Ego saves him. We discover Ego. At the end of 2 issues, we discover a new character. Issue 3, we're with Ego, and then discovering that something has infected him, and he's hurting, and so for them to make a deal to help each other, Silver Surfer has to now go help Ego before he could get Ego's help to fight the King in Black, in which he discovers, fuck, dude, like when he's going into Ego, these couple pages are
wild.
I don't know if remember like Nickelodeon, like that green
The
slime,
the way it
and
splats.
that's
Oh,
how the
yeah.
coloring, all of that reminds me of like bubblegum and like Nickelodeon
No, I can see that.
advertisements.
It's that
It's got that weird like
it's the colors
Go
that
ahead.
he uses. It's these green. It's like
Yeah.
these lime greens, these bright yellows, and neon pinks, and it's just all these bright colors that kind of don't mix together.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, they're
It's
all
like-
very vibrant in
Yeah.
that sense.
It's like, Dave, what colors do you want to use? All of them.
What colors do you want to use?
Seriously?
Yes.
All of them.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. All the above.
Well,
It's like he went to a hardware store, grabbed all of the paint swatches, and
yeah.
was just like, I'm gonna use all of these. And then like so I love how the board turns into like a lance
Oh yeah.
to like spear through to the core of Ego to get out the infection that we don't know what it is yet. But then like there's one panel on page 14 where there's just like a Tron Legacy, Tron video game grid there for no reason, for no real reason. And they just keep going, and then he burrows to the center of the earth, or to the center of Ego's planet body, and it's almost like a science poster
Yeah, you're totally
where
right.
he's digging through to the core. It
And
freaking
dude, that's some like Mike Allred inspiration right there too. I'm gonna say that right now.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
The way he does some of those like zoom in panels, kind of like Frank Whiteley and whatnot. I think Allred and Quietly were big influences on Shadmore. I could see that.
When he gets to the
Yeah.
center,
And we
though.
find out.
Go ahead, Brandon.
Yeah. Oh no, I was just
Oh,
going
yeah.
to say that. Go for
No,
it.
it's crazy because you feel like also you should have saw this coming, but when he gets to the center, he gets to Galactus before he's born, essentially.
Yeah. And Lifebringer
Yeah,
1.
and this cube, this like weird futuristic looking cube thing, is very Jack Kirby-esque. Now,
Yes.
I say that
Yes.
only if you know Jack Kirby. Like if you look at his drawings of technology and the way his artwork kind of flowed when it came to drawing mechanical things or cybernetics or any sort of like circuit board looking kind of thing or something with tubes and wires coming out,
Yeah.
you just
Mhm.
know what I'm talking about. Like you see this cube
Yeah.
and it's very Kirby-esque and it's an obvious nod to Kirby because I mean it's Silver Surfer. And I
Yeah.
think like it's a very subtle way of implementing that almost like tribute to Kirby, but also kind of like how do I put it? But like mixing art styles too.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's his rendition of a Kirby drawing, you
Yeah.
know, of a Kirby concept. And I love that because that's the only time you really get like the Kirby in your face part is like the birth of Galactus, and that's poetic in itself. You know what I mean? That's where we pull the
Yeah.
Kirbiness. And also with Ego, I don't know, was Ego a Kirby creation?
he is,
Man, shame
actually.
on us.
Let me see.
All right, this needs to get all right. Apollo City research on the
My
spot.
clicky keyboard.
Well, I think Ego either his first appearance is either in a Thor
Yep.
comic or a Silver Surfer
Created
comic,
by
which if it
Kirby.
was, or no, if it was a Fantastic Four comic.
Mighty Thor 132, and which is interesting. Jack Kirby as Stan Lee, which is interesting because I think the origin of Galactus is like Thor 136 or 39 or something like that, or 165. Never mind, I'm way off.
His origin, maybe. You know what? Really, I should have known my Thor stuff.
I got the
Should
Thor
have read every
expert.
issue.
Yeah, you know what's funny about that? Quick aside into shit like that is when you're like, well, you have a Thor podcast, you don't know everything. I'm like, I'm not Rain Man. Like I don't remember every single thing. Like, come on.
That's like telling a historian being like, oh, you don't know all of history? Like, or you don't know everything about the revolution? You're still learning that stuff? You're how old? You have a master's and you still don't know every detail? Like,
it's almost like history is a complex void that we jump into.
Hey, and you know what?
But,
we know more history about these universes than our own, probably.
I know, right?
So. Hands down.
Just call us out now.
A crushing reality.
Yeah. I can't tell you much about the revolutions, but you know what? I can tell you some cool shit about Jack Kirby.
Jack who? You say that to a comic book fan, they're like, "Oh, Jack Kirby! Wow!" You say it to like a normal person, they're like, "Jack who?"
Yeah, the
friggin' what?
The shame behind that.
I'm gonna look at that Thor in the 160s and see
I think
if
it's 164. Talk about nerdom. Maybe I could pull that in my ass. I feel like while you look that up,
yeah, I'll work on that.
I feel like issue 4, when we jump into it, not only do we get one of the coolest Tradmore covers, because you get like this burning Galactus with this Kirby rendition and the Surfer flying through it, like a total like homage to the whole concept of what the Silver Surfer has stood for so long. It's definitely the issue where Donny was like, all right, I got to really get this story going. And he crammed a whole lot into it. We were just talking about pacing and how like the first 3 issues are very fluid and you're so entranced in the art. But this one is a bit bulkier on what needs to happen for issue 5, like the conclusion, act 3 to really kickstart. This one, it goes from him deciding if he's going to like kill Galactus or not. He's going to go into he has to face the incubator, and that's where the Watcher comes in. And dude, the Watcher is never, this giant baby head has never looked cooler.
Giant baby head. The thing we can't really like skip over though is that Silver Surfer easily decides that he's just gonna shove Galactus into a star.
Yeah.
And like,
yeah.
let's not disregard that he simply goes, "Yeah, I'm gonna do it," and then he literally does it, and the Watcher intervenes, and that tells you something like how important this is. And back to your saying, the way he's drawn is pretty crazy.
No, you're right. I totally skipped over like the most important concept behind that is that he has so much anger. He sees it's Galactus. He knows what Galactus does and what he's capable of, and the history. As his herald, he's witnessed most of
Yeah.
it.
He's like, "Fuck this guy,"
And he's just like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna fucking kill this guy right
Yeah.
now. Like, I'm not gonna have any of this happen. Like, screw this. Screw everything. I don't care what I fuck up. Screw Galactus. This guy's a dick.
This guy's
He's
a
not gonna help
dick.
us at all. And Watcher's like,
Gosh, such a
you know, I know your life sucks and everything's ruined behind you, Surfer, but if you do this, you're dead.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. I don't want to spoil too much for you, but you got two paths. One of them you die carrying Milnor, and you die right here. So if you don't want a history and to experience some stuff, just cut it quits now. And he's like, damn, all right, that was cold. And he has to make that decision. And he reaches into like his mind, and you learn about Brandon and I were just freaking out about this before the show because we didn't really remember or realize
It
this.
says it right
but
there.
It tells you about the Black Winter.
Yeah.
Like
He
kind of
saw
a
the
first
Black
glimpse.
Winter. It was like, oh
Right?
my god,
Yes,
he
like-
subtly dropped that, and he's been planning for it this whole time.
Yeah. Yeah.
crafty little Texan.
Yeah, I mean, I was bashing on the storytelling concepts before, but like really, of course, by analyzing it a bit more and talking about it for an hour, I'm realizing like the seeds that he was planting and the purposes behind some of this, I feel were very intentional. And then him and Galactus, like the spirit of Galactus kind of like fighting. Dude, this is a Samurai Jack scene. This right here.
Oh yeah.
Remember the movie, or I guess first 3 episodes, however you watched it as a kid. But like Aku would turn into like different creatures and
Yeah.
like animals and everything and shapeshift, and that's what they're both doing as they fight each other. And it's,
I mean that the page right before that, so like that big double that double page
Oh,
spread
yeah,
that Brandon was just talking
that's
about,
Aku.
when he's digging away at his eye, like I don't know what it is about that, like it Trad and Dave Stewart, like they capture agony in his face so well. His face is melting off his hand, which is funny, the art with his hand. So his hand on this page, it looks like they overlaid the inks over top of a painting that was already there. I don't know how to
like
describe that.
if like the part that's like where the coloring is, it's like the hand was already
Yeah.
there, and they cut that part and then put a picture under it, so it layers it,
Yes.
you know what I mean?
Yes.
Dude, I had never paid attention to this panel until right now, I don't think. And knowing
Yeah,
it's the
but-
Black Winter he's seeing, and knowing what the Black Winter made like Thor go through and the fear
Mhm.
Galactus was in with it, this again, storytelling technique, like planting the seed of it's so horrendous. Look what Silver Surfer, think about what Silver Surfer has seen in his lifetime, and he talks about it like crazy in this book. Planets being destroyed, all
Yeah.
this type of stuff. He's seen death over and over again, but then to cringe and like want to like claw his face off looking at the Black Winter, like that's when that happens, that event, because it has to at this point. It's gonna be better. It has so much like expectations. Like, well, you has to be the craziest fucking thing, higher than anything else, to tear up 2 of the strongest cosmic characters around. And then you know what? You turn the page, that 2-page spread. That's fucking Aku right there. Like that is Aku standing over Samurai Jack. Even with the helmet and the trifecta head and everything, like
It's just so, and like I feel like for the first time, I noticed, holy crap, there's hands reaching out of the like bloody water.
Almost like the
crap.
phantoms of like Galactus, or the the ones that have like perished at his hunger.
Yeah, dude, you're right. I hadn't noticed that before either, but that's absolutely breathtaking. I've read this book 3 times and I'm still noticing stuff, and I pay attention more to the art than the writing, and that's how dense this is with
Well,
that.
To like,
no.
oh,
All
Go
I
ahead,
was gonna
Brian.
say is like this is a book that you don't really the artwork can tell you everything. You could almost like take the words out and still be able to follow it.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
go ahead.
Then the next page past the double page spread, there is a subtle thing again that I just noticed. If you look in the top left hand corner, you see Norin on a giant serpent, like a viper, and coming out of the viper's mouth is another snake.
Yeah.
And then coming out of that snake's mouth is another snake. And then it goes into like a dolphin, and then it's a wolf. But I just noticed it's all connected.
Yeah. And then it leads into the surfer at the very bottom part.
So if you're a listener now and you're like, guys, we get it. Tradmore is great. I'm like, we're not even hitting every page. We're not even hitting all the subtlety.
Yeah, you could. There's a treasury edition that I don't know if it's still in print, but that's something I always regretted not getting, and that'd be an amazing coffee table book to have right there. Let all your guests see that when you walk in. Yeah. I love the Galactus design. When he takes off his helmet, like I really admire even that helmet shape. It looks, I don't know how to describe it. Like it's so simple. It's just really simple for Galactus. And I think that's the most simple Galactus has ever looked. And it's like real clean. And I kind of admire that like adventurer look that he had. Because this is pre-World Devourer. So this was like his outfit before that. Did they mention Galactus's real name in this one?
He does have a real name.
Gallon. There you go.
They do mention he doesn't have a last name, right?
Not that I've heard. Usually he's referred to by his name and then the planet that he was from before, in current continuity before the Black Winter destroyed it. But it's Gallon.
Yeah, because he was a scientist before he was the Devourer. So I know he's from another universe that his universe, which we find out now, was destroyed by the Black Winter. That's kind of all I know. And then his name, I thought it was Galen. Is it Gallon?
Probably.
I think it's just a difference in pronunciation. Maybe
I would always read it Galen. I knew a kid named Galen. Actually, there's only kid I've never known Galen. I wish I knew more about Galactus at the time. He wasn't that cool of a kid, anyways.
He's like listening to this.
He's
like, I know. Fucking asshole. I thought this guy was my friend.
Yeah. You know what? I pull all my support from Apollo City Comics now.
This issue wraps up with, him really being able to speak with Gallon face to face, kind of for the first time, and kind of warning him and telling him why he kind of hates him. And it's like, what if you turn into like an asshole in like 30 years? And then somebody from your future comes and like wants to like kill you, and you're just like, why? What did I do? Like, and he's like, you kill everybody. And he's just like, you cannot defeat the dark with darkness.
Well, that's kind of happened in other Donny Cates books. Like, Cosmic Ghost Rider is one of them.
How does that one turn out? I mean, I don't recall.
Do
the
you
story
care about
overall.
spoilers, Ryan? Well, in Cosmic Ghost Rider, the miniseries that was written by Donny Cates, Cosmic Ghost Rider goes back in time to kill Thanos.
That's right. Okay. And he gets baby Thanos.
Yeah, and then it becomes a Mandalorian episode because he basically takes Thanos as like his I guess youngling, or not youngling. I'm thinking Star Wars. He takes him as kind of like his protege.
It's so good.
And then you get that alternate timeline where Thanos becomes Punisher and calls Cosmic Ghost Rider father. But the same thing, he doesn't know why he's being killed, and it's because of that.
So hilarious.
Yeah, and then I think there's also an Avengers book that does that, where they go back to fight King the Conqueror, and they try to kill him as a kid, and they don't.
Oh, that would make sense.
Is it King the Conqueror? No.
I would say.
Yes. Who's the guy that time travels? Yeah. I mix up villains all the time.
Talk about a complex character that I don't even think the guys that wrote Kang knew what was going
But
on
Yeah.
with that
he went through the
character.
same thing. The Avengers traveled back in time to try to kill him, and then it's like they don't understand why. So it's a very ongoing thing.
Mhm.
But this isn't the first time Donny Cates has done that.
That's true. It's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, it's another one of his like little story like bag
He
of
likes
tricks that he knows
cosmic
how to,
time
like,
traveling.
use.
Realistically,
Yeah,
that's what he.
yeah,
That's what he
exactly.
likes.
I mean, Thanos is the same thing. His Thanos series is kind of revolved around that too. Yeah, good shit.
Yeah.
Issue 5. Well, you start off in this like mid '80s artwork that looks like a Duran Duran cover, kind of.
Yeah, it should be
but
like my
another
favorite
one-
Duran Duran album on Instagram, and everybody's like, "Oh, which one is that?"
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Oh, is that like the deep tracks?
B-sides?
The B-sides, like-
B-sides.
Man, look at the cover. You guys like that black cover with like Silver Surfer all Obsidian like, and then you get this stupid Mary Jane variant. Like, why
Let me
did
see
this
that one.
exist
I
for
don't
this
know what
series?
it is.
Like,
Let me see it. Oh, that one. Is that?
dude,
I love-
even the variants for this book, like you have like Ron Lim, and then you have like Cyan Tormri, and man, all these like amazing covers. That dude, honestly, some of these variants look like Mike Mignola like artwork, to tell you the truth. But then I get the stupid Mary Jane variant. Like, that's just why.
I do love that I didn't have to like endure that. I've just maybe the omnibus isn't the thing that I need to invest in.
Oh, well, that was my single issues. Yeah, that I should just.
Never mind
Yeah,
then.
omnibus is the way
Never
to go.
mind
I'm
then.
not gonna lie.
The the main cover is, like Brandon said, it's
Oh
spectacular.
yeah, that issue 3 spread. But dude, on this one, oh man, this whole like issue 5 kind of takes you into some crazy moments because some of this artwork we've already seen in the book. Panel 2 of the second page, like him stepping over, I think that was like one of the first ones where he's flying through the wormhole.
It is, yeah,
Yeah.
because you have that same pose.
Then the
Yeah.
yeah.
And then like there's that Spidey image with him and Surfer, so maybe that's like the Requiem reference. That could be because that discussion I was just talking about.
I know the panel not the panel, but inside the panel with the Spidey one, the image right next to it, that's either from Silver Surfer #1, all the way back when, or that's from the Galactus trilogy. But that's like I think that's an opening splash
Oh
page,
wow.
and probably no one else cares but me. I'm gonna find out.
No, yeah, no. Please let me know because I love seeing those deep cuts of like where we're seeing some of these images from.
And on the third page, I'm just gonna say this now. Second panel where you see his what was her name? Shalabal.
Shalabal.
That is the most Jack Kirby face I've ever seen that is not done by Jack Kirby.
Oh,
Because Jack Kirby
true, the
always
big
has
eyes,
all his
the, like-
characters with their mouth open screaming or something. or, like,
Yeah, always in action at
Yeah.
that point. Yeah, dude, that's a good observation. That probably was. Maybe that's why I was so entranced by his. That was like just a straight up Kirby call.
well, this whole book
at that
is
point.
it screams a Stan Lee Jack Kirby love letter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
There, well, even in the so like for those of you that like, hey, what maybe you're listening and you're like, maybe there's like cool stories behind this. Like Donny Cates tells a story in the first issue at the end at the letters page where he met Stan Lee.
Yeah.
And he was like, basically, I'm gonna try and do this. And he's like, yep, you'll try.
Yeah.
It's like, my gosh. It's like old timers still got game. But yeah, like it's just kind of cool to see the things where, like Brandon's been pointing out the whole time, like Kirby callback, Kirby callback. Like that's always fun. And I think so. Brandon has had to sit through multiple rants of me doing this, but I hang out with a lot of older comic book fans, and for the most part, it's awesome. It's fun. But like they would look at a book like this and be like, "This isn't comics." I'm like, it actually is, because these creators are, like Brandon said, writing love letters. Like they're taking the legacy that this character has and they're modernizing it while doing it very respectfully. And I think like this is not a bastardization of Silver Surfer. This is a modernization of Silver Surfer. And I wish, I don't know how you would do this, but I wish we had an ongoing Silver Surfer book that looked like this. I think that would be exhausting work, but like
I completely agree, dude. Like it's something that needs to happen in that sense to really, like I said, refine the character. If you get the right artist and the right correct writer on it, right writer, which is gonna sound weird, but it would do so much for him. And I feel like we gotta uncover more of like look how much emotion we've seen in these 5 issues with Surfer, his past, his present, his like, I mean, he went through time and shit, like, and then came back to the future. So right now too, we're still technically in the past, are we not?
This whole thing
We're
is
still like
in the
billion
past.
years.
It's like the beginning of.
It's all, yeah, beginning of time. Noel, while he was still reigning, in that sense.
Yeah, because Noel basically existed at the beginning of the universe, right?
Yeah, he was one of the first.
Wait, how did he get created again? I forgot right now.
Oh goodness.
I actually brought out my King in Black.
Because Noel basically created the symbiotes out of like darkness. Or
there's a King in Black handbook.
You didn't get this issue?
I need to get that.
That's what he did with the symbiotes, right? They're basically like the nothingness or like space. I don't know.
Yeah, check this out. Noel apparently came into existence in the endless void prior to the Big Bang. Content in the abyss, he was angered by creation, particularly the cosmic celestials shaping matter in the forming universe. So he created All Black, the first precursor to the symbiote race, and used it to behead a celestial. After forging All Black into a powerful sword inside the fallen celestial's body, Noel sought to destroy brightness, slaying and enslaving gods, and creating an army of servant creatures, other symbiote precursors, including some that resemble giant dragons, a fortress on a distant world. While creating his army, Noel discarded failed creature experiments in a realm later called the Exoteric Latitude. At some point in ancient history, a time-displaced Silver Surfer, Norn Rad, encountered Noel, who attempted to enslave him. To escape, Surfer used his power cosmic to create a small star to blast Noel across the cosmos. Approximately 3,000 years ago, Noel battled an unidentified god.
That's
and
Thor
that goes into the Thor realm, and where he crash lands.
Yeah.
So there's kind of like a gap. We'll see where Noel ends on here, but there is definitely a gap of Noel's history to still be explained between what happens post Silver Surfer Black and the god he's fighting that lands on Gore's planet and Thor. Damn.
Oh my god.
Fucking that was a lot. A lot of history going on there. And literally, dude, this whole entire last issue is just one epic fight. And then of course we get the Donny Cates sword in this issue, because Donny Cates gives everyone a sword. And he's fucking dope. He like lets the black kind of take over his body too, which is super interesting. But these fight scenes.
Well, he's this is the first time in the book, besides the first issue, where he starts fighting back using like, again, kind of like using his powers, and they even have like a meter on that big like giant spread where you have them fighting while Noel's on the dragon. And they're about to start their sword fight.
Go.
You see these small panels on to the right, and where Silver Surfer is getting darker.
Oh,
it's like an energy meter draining.
Yeah, exactly. It shows how much it's taking over his body. And dude, the next page after that, that was the fight scene I was looking at too. That was, oh man, that first panel was just like, it's like sound like vibrating, like images of sound vibrating for their swords. That's how like intense this battle is. It's how cosmic it is at that point. And then dude, he turns into like, what's that Green Lantern that Kyle Rayner turned into? Where he had all the
it's like
yeah,
it looks like
like
poo
too much
in
power.
the movie.
The White Lanterns?
It was in the movie.
I know nothing about Green Lantern.
Oh, like Kyle Rayner becomes like a White Lantern and he absorbs all of the.
Oh, I'm thinking of the Hal Jordan one when he becomes something.
I don't know. No, but
Parallax.
Oh, not Parallax. No, yeah. Kyle turns into like a White Lantern that absorbs all the spectrum. And
Oh
that's
yeah, and all
literally
the
what this one
colors.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that the Blackest Night, Brightest Day?
No, it's like post all
No.
that. It's like somewhere in there. It was, I think, in Godhead. I want to say, which was New 52, end of
okay.
the
I think
universe
so.
stuff.
No, that was Omega Men.
Was it Omega Man?
Yeah, by Tom King. That was Omega Men. I'm pretty sure.
Great. Now we got to talk about Tom King.
No, we talk about Green Lantern and Tom King on top of that.
Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Go read it.
Yeah, that shit's good. That shit's real good, actually. But dude, the page after the 2-page spread, the paneling on this one is like horrific and fascinating, but there's so much emotion behind each panel. Like the first one is just like a static image of Silver Surfer, and it looks like just neon colors painted on black or black painted over neon. The way you have Noel's face where it looks skeletal, like the skin is coming off.
Yes.
Like, oh man. And
He could do a horror book.
yeah, dude, that would be awesome. Well, have you read Little Bird?
No, I have not.
That Ian, I'm spacing out his name. Ian something. It's not Beltron. It starts with Ian B, something like that. But his art is very similar to this. Very similar. And it's kind of like it's not a horror book, but it's pretty damn gory. And there's some crazy creations in that. But look up Little Bird. It's an Image Comics book. And that one is just phenomenal. It's similar stuff.
I know what you're talking about.
So one thing I noticed when you said that, Brandon, about the panel to the far left on this page, he's literally switching up art styles.
Yeah, this looks like a painting, like a Bill.
Nothing in the book
like
looks like that panel. Nothing. And it just like, talk about being like, and you know what? Treadmore could listen to this and he'd be like, you know what? It's all bullshit. But like,
stop making theories, guys. I just drew shit.
We're writing like a thesis on how great his artwork is. But I think what's so great is just in the way that he communicates all this emotion on Norrin's face. He literally had to switch up an art style to get it across another way. And talk about being like such a badass artist that you're just like, you know what? This art style we've been going with for bulk of 4 or 5 issues, I'm going to switch it up for this one panel, and we're going to do something a little different. I just think that's so good, so good.
Yeah.
And then like he goes completely black because he's used up all the rest of his power.
And that's the cool part too, is that this is where the book kind of wraps up. But the planet he got from Ego, he's saying that it wasn't used to like for war or for harm. And it kind of continues on. He's like, your past cannot be changed. Your shadow cannot be erased. You cannot defeat the dark. But you can find the light inside of you. Protect it from harm. Care for it will be fragile. And then when it is strong, share it. Give it away. Shine it down upon those still trapped in the shadows, and perhaps the brilliance of your light will outshine the void within. And there, bathed in the flame, you will be forgiven. And dude, the pages kind of go on for a couple more, with a fucking astounding artwork continuing.
Yeah.
But dude, like that's literally Donny Cates writing about being a writer. Like, I'm going through shit. I'm feeling things emotionally. I've been through experiences. I've been through dark times and dark paths. And the whole point of a story is to give survival information. That's like the essence of a story, is to be survival information. And that's what Donny is giving us right now, is that when you're going through this stuff, like, know that that little bit of light that you still have, that you may even think that you lost, like you can share your pain and your experience, and it can help others find their way out of the darkness. And it's like, it's the whole point of a story. That's the whole point of a story.
So one thing that, and to just really piggyback off what Brandon just said, which I thought was so pointed and so, such a good description there. The thing that the original Surfer comics are known really for Stan Lee writing Norrin Radd is it was Stan Lee's way of communicating to fans and readers what he thought about the world.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times they would come across almost like sermons, like him preaching at the audience, but it was in this often fatalistic, things are very bad. But he would always have that kernel of like hope, because at the end of the day, I think the Silver Surfer is a great symbol for hope, especially in this story, because as he's planting those cosmic seeds, he's planting the seeds that would become Zenn-La.
Yeah.
Which is the planet that he comes from and that was destroyed by Galactus. So like the poetic ending here is, I really think Donny's strong point in this book is that he wraps it all the way back around, and there's that emotional hook at the end that, as Brandon read so well, the part about being forgiven, Norrin's also saying like, there you are, Zenn-La. And he, in like the planet just kind of bursts out of these cosmic seeds. And that's just kind of, it's a great poetic ending. I thought it was a great way to wrap the story up.
And notice like the message he's giving at that time, the art is good, but it's not spectacular. Like you're now entranced in the writing, and you can kind of the art feels like comic book art, where it's just like, one is definitely, there's a balance between the two, and the writing is the message as you absorb the scene, but it's not overtaken by the art, where the art was crazy and abstract and over the top. That's where it kind of calmed down, so you can get the message, and then it ramps back up.
Yeah, I was gonna also say, with this ending, I guess you could say that he's kind of created a paradox, because without Silver Surfer, you wouldn't have Zenn-La, but then without Zenn-La, you wouldn't have Silver Surfer. And apparently he would have gone through the black hole, gone back in time, go through all of this, use the last bit of his light, or whatever you want to call it, and then his cosmic power that apparently he got after Zenn-La to create Zenn-La. So then now it raises the question of like, it's what came first thing, where was it the chicken or the egg? Was it Zenn-La or Silver Surfer? But now it's like, you need the time travel and the loop to make it all coexist.
Yeah, it's like kind of a weird, you have your timeline, and then it strays and does this like loop, and then he comes back into like an infinite possibility thing. Like, but this moment has to happen in his life no matter what. And, it kind of goes through.
He doesn't remember it happening.
No, yeah. And it's kind of.
He doesn't remember before it, obviously.
He's like seeing all these planets that were destroyed come back to life. And, he says, understanding at last why they worshiped the Silver God, knowing that the Silver God had saved him and everything. But man, I love the last part. I am Norrin Radd, creator and orphan son of Zenn-La. I am a noble light in great undying darkness. I am a friend, an ally, a lover, to most a savior. I am known by many universe-wide as a Silver Surfer, the sentinel of the spaceways, the herald unchained, but not death, no longer that. The darkness I have given now balanced the light I have shared. And so now, my hands no longer drenched in red, I return in the black. Like, that's just... Man, don't call it a comeback. You know what I mean? Like, it is just fucking dope. Like, I always enjoy going into an episode and like being like, yeah, that book was cool. Like, I'm excited to talk about it. I really want to just talk about this one thing, but there's this one aspect I really don't really care for. And then walking out of an episode being like, fuck, it was all so good.
What was I talking
what
about?
The hell? Like, I fucking missed it.
I do love this book.
Yeah, through and through, man. And it's just like, fuck, I don't know what else can you even say about it. Like it's fucking
Well,
phenomenal. Like
realistically, when it comes to like this book in its entirety, there's a few things to take note of it, and that is definitely a letter of appreciation to the characters' creators. It's also Donny Cates. Realistically, he's always want. So to me, his strongest run to date has been Venom, but I think he's trying to create his epic little corner of a Marvel universe that's within the continuity. And I feel like Silver Surfer was his opportunity to squeeze in a little continuity and kind of get the groundwork and basis going for everything because he went to the dawn of time. So I think
yeah,
this is his attempt at like planting the seeds,
Yeah.
figuratively and I guess like literally, for his Marvel stuff because now he has cemented stuff that has happened in Thor, Venom, Guardians. As far as his other Marvel stuff, I'm not too sure, but all the stuff that's going on at least like a little bit more epic
yeah,
and ongoing. It seems like this was his attempt to connect everything.
yeah. I could definitely see that. That's like just I was kind of ranting about the storytelling aspects, but you're right. This is the glue. This is like the base of all of that, and everything is kind of spinning out of it. Because before this, he just had Thanos, Cosmic Ghost Rider, Death of Inhumans, and then this and Guardians came
Some
out.
Doctor Strange stuff, I believe.
But
Doctor Strange.
he was doing Venom already.
Yeah, Venom was already around too. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So, but Venom was very early stages of Null. I think I could be wrong, but I think this is right around the time of Absolute Carnage.
That could make sense. I would have to look at those release dates, but you're probably right about that too.
Yeah.
The speaking of tying stuff through in the I think it's like third to last page, the page right before Brandon started reading there, the planets that he's planting seeds of. Anybody remember those names from another conversation we had?
Ooh, let me look back at this real fast. Let me read some of these planets.
So he mentions Zenla.
Okay.
He mentioned Zenla, Massacron, Eleanor 143, Draven Bar. Those are all planets that Galactus destroys in the Devourer King.
There you go. And
Oh,
he's replanting.
shit. So
So
like the big world eating the planets that charge Galactus above. God damn it, Donnie, you're too good.
damn it.
The guy is a comic book nerd through and through, especially Marvel.
Yeah.
I think what's like we've said so many times, like the three of us connected over comic book wise, like Donny Cates' stuff, and I the guy is gonna put together a run that is gonna be so hard to stop, like because right now, think of it, he is in my mind the Venom writer.
Yeah, dude,
Like,
Venom wasn't
the
cool
Venom
before
writer.
this, or it's not after it. I'm so sorry to say, but
Like it had to take someone like Al Ewing taking over the Venom book after Donny left because the freaking King in Black happened. Like, I cannot speak highly enough about that book and how it changes. It changes Eddie Brock. It changes Venom. It changes that whole kind of pocket. And Donny like put a stamp on it. Like, no, the Venom is mine.
yeah,
And now he's doing it with Thor in a very different way, but we knew Null was going to be the long game for Venom. Just like if you're reading current Thor, Donny has already told us what the long game
Black
is.
Winter.
It's Thanos with the hammer.
Oh,
Yeah,
true.
the vision,
Yeah.
the vision that the Black Winter gives Thor of like how he dies.
So I didn't mean to shut down the Black Winter talk,
you're right.
because I actually thought about this. I don't think we're done with the Black Winter and Thor. I don't think we're done at all. I think we got a taste of it, and now so not to make this like a pseudo episode of Across the Bifrost, but one thing I've noticed reading through the current run of Thor is Donny takes everything that Thor is familiar with, flips it on its head, and it's all nightmarish versions of things that he has come to know and love, which is what the Black Winter told him was going to happen. Like, he told him he was going to die. He told him that he was basically going to have his heart ripped apart, and Donald Blake turned on him. I'm not going to spoil how the last issue of Thor ended, but something else turned on him.
You can spoil it by the time this episode comes out, but yeah.
I mean,
Milnor ain't his buddy.
I got to that last page, and I was literally like, "What in the hell?"
Yeah, cool shit.
What do I do with this? But I'm just saying, like, all that to say, Donny Cates is a master storyteller. Like, people that think good comics aren't being made today, you're not reading.
True, and there's so much. It's one of those things. It's like with music or anything else, you got to kind of like carve and kind of do your research and see what flavors you like most. Are you a sweet or salty person and shit like that? Like, but I feel like the stuff people expect out of comics, that Neil Gaiman, Alan Moore, Grant Morrison, Donnie's name is going to be up there too. Like, he is going to be one of those high ups. Like,
he's going to be the one that tried something different.
Yeah,
there's a reason why it's good, and I said this in a Venom review I wrote back when the first volume was like done with, and I said he's doing epic things, and he's writing what 90s comics wish they were.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's, in my opinion, the best way to sum up Donny Cates' writing, because he's an avid fan, and I'll diss 90s comics, and I'll stick with that opinion, and people will argue with me. But I honestly feel like I'm not wrong when I say the stories aren't that great.
Hell no.
Now, the ideas and concepts are crazy and just wacky.
Hence why, and this is going to be like a random little talk real fast, but just to explain, the Image comics were so badly written when they were coming out, but the art was so good. And that is exactly why Todd McFarlane went out and said, I want to get the 4 greatest writers out there for comics to write 4 issues or 5 issues of Spawn, to prove that, like, yeah, I mean, like, the character of the story is astonishing and amazing, and a good person can write Spawn, because Todd wasn't a writer. It was terrible. Those issues are cringy, but the art's phenomenal. Like, you can't deny it. That art is fucking great still to this day. But that's why you got Neil Gaiman, Alan Moore, Frank Miller, and who did Cerberus? Dave Sims did
the crossover with Spawn.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah, he did the crossover. Yeah.
Issue 9.
Issue 8. Yeah, issue 8, because issue 9 is the one with Angela, and Neil Gaiman wrote that one. But he had to get, and that was how he had to push Spawn sales, because nobody was kind of like, it was deteriorating, because everyone was like, this shit sucks. Like, there's a lot of number ones, a lot of cool stuff, but like the writing is so bad. And Todd made these deals. Hence, when you learn about Neil Gaiman's whole courtroom drama with Todd, it goes into a lot of that type of stuff too.
Yeah, but
sorry.
No, I was just saying. Basically, 90s comics were not great in my opinion. They looked cool, but they had crazy ideas, but they just didn't. And I'm about to say something that will get me so in trouble with the comic book community. But go ahead, Ryan.
Do it.
You won't forget what you're gonna say.
No, I will not. No,
okay, I'm just saying, and this is just me ranting completely off topic, but it's like Chris Claremont motherfucking writing. That dude, I'm sorry. And you know what? I'm not a huge X-Men fan. I'll say it. But that dude could not write a good comic book. I'm fucking sorry.
No.
Those ideas, and it's a hot take, but he's a great idea man. He's great imagination. But those books are hard to read. They were hard to read back then, I guarantee you. And there was nothing like it, so that's why people loved it. But they are hard to read now.
Those books were really good in the terms of like craft and story and character development and ABC
ideas.
Plot and ideas. It's as far as I'll go.
I know. I'm about to fucking get ripped a new one.
Chris Claremont never had a conversation with a regular person. You could tell, like, by reading that stuff. Like,
no, and I respect Chris Claremont, and I think he's a phenomenal person, and I think like he is like the X-Men writer, but it didn't age well. I'm sorry.
You go.
It's hard to read, that's what 90s comics are to me. Is that they didn't age well. They had great ideas and awesome concepts, but the writing just couldn't back it up. And to sum it all up, Donny Cates to me is what all that all those like '90s comics wanted to be. Again, is
So
yeah.
I have to piggyback off that hot take because it's just the straightest fire I've heard in a long time. I think if like people were like, "What are you talking about, Brandon? Chris Claremont's the freaking best." I'm like, "Okay, what's your favorite Chris Claremont X-Men issue? Tell me. What's your favorite story and tell me why it's great."
Tell me. Tell us.
Well, he's like the best, man. I'm like, see, most people, most people like nowadays, like unless you're finding like older fans that were like in it and they bought it like from the beginning and that's like their book. Awesome. Most people will not know why they disagree with you.
That's true.
Yeah.
To people.
And the other thing is like the '90s comics thing. I agree with you 1,000%. And like that makes so much sense to me. It's like a great idea. Okay,
well,
most '90s comics, outlandish art, and an idea that couldn't be followed through with.
yeah, and that's
Like-
simply because, and it's it trips me out because I mean, it blows our minds, but literally Todd and all them wrangled up. You know, they got Mark Silvestri, they got Jim Lee, they got you got Todd McFarlane, you got Rob Liefeld. I'm sure you got Eric Larson. You have these amazing artists.
Great artists.
They didn't bring any writers over to Image when they were doing
Bring
this.
a writer with
Like they should have brought
Please.
1 or 2 writers from any company. And dude, I bet you anything, all of those series would have had way more success. But they were so
Yeah.
consumed by the artist struggle that it was just like the writer. It almost didn't matter. And it's like
Yeah.
it doesn't.
Yeah.
Comics
But-
we've discussed many times. You put the best writer in the world and the best artist in the world together in a room, the outcome you're gonna get is a fucking comic book. Because it takes 2 in that sense, or 1. Frank Miller is pretty fucking great. You know what I mean, in a lot of senses.
Yeah.
But
You have that rare double that double threat.
Oh,
yeah,
And,
Sean
and
Sean
maybe I have a
Murphy.
bias, but yeah, I'll have a bias. And in that time of like that X-Men era, Frank Miller's Daredevil was obliterating in terms
Yeah.
of like its execution, in terms of writing and artists. Again, I'm not saying X-Men comic. I'm saying X-Men comics are important, and for what they did, they're
Oh, yeah.
amazing.
They're probably worth checking out for the lore and all that. But like,
yeah,
don't.
but I can't stress enough. It's just the actual writing. I'm just like it's hard.
What's like
hard to
Stan
read.
Lee? Stan Lee wasn't a writer. He was an ideas man. Jack
Yeah.
Kirby
Oh god.
really wasn't a writer. I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
We're just
Yeah.
we're just creating a laundry list of reasons to cancel us. Like
And no, well, dude, okay. In comparison, Brandon and I are talking or working on our own art and trying to like, make shitty art so we can make some shitty comics. And the whole thing behind it is like, okay, I'm a writer. Yeah, the writing will probably be pretty damn good, but the art isn't going to be good because my strength is in this aspect, and you kind of got to
Yeah.
choose one or the other. Kudos to those like Jack Kirby and Frank Miller and Sean Murphy who do fucking everything. And I would love to, but like there's a tug and pull. Sean Murphy, brilliant artist. His writing is good, solid. Yeah. Frank Miller has his ups and downs, but a lot of downs on that up. I love Frank. He's fucking the king. But Kirby, king of fucking comics. Phenomenal art.
Yeah.
And you just dude, try reading the original Fourth World. I did it. I did all of it. It was tough, but fun.
Kudos to you.
You know what I mean?
It's like reading original Spider-Man. You're like, ugh.
Yeah, it's a tug and pull, and it's like if we are bashing on the whole artist trying to be writers type of thing, but like, dude, I'm gonna try to be an artist, and it ain't gonna be good. People will rip on my stuff in 30, 40 years,
I told Brandon this. Like I finished up my first attempt at a comic book script, and then my first thought was I should draw something. I got 2 hours into that and was so friggin' depressed.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
like, oh my gosh, not this. I'm like,
Oh yeah,
artists are great. They're phenomenal.
they are. And yeah, before we go off on another rant with that, coming back and rounding back to Donny Cates. Donny Cates is someone granted, these aren't original creations of his in comics, but he's someone that if you had the writing or the writing skills that he has, because he is a good writer. He's a really good writer. Silver Surfer Black not being his best, or even Guardians, but he's got books that are really solid fucking writing, and he's a creator that, with the right artist, those outlandish ideas and these bizarre, wacky, cosmic time traveling adventures that are multi-dimensional and multiverse craziness. He's when you have the writing chops to make it awesome.
Yeah.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah.
With all
100%. But, and you know what? As we sign off, Brandon and I are probably going to be doing some live shows of just a hangout, like drink and draw. It doesn't mean alcohol. It means like coffee, whatever, because it's a school night for us, But we'll be doing those pretty soon on Thursday nights when we can. So we'll probably have those up on the live. It'd be cool to have you on that one day, Ryan, and we'll just all hang out and vibe and draw some cool stuff and draw some shitty stuff.
Yeah,
really.
absolutely.
Like, it's just a thing. But keep an eye out for that. Don't forget to check out our friends at Lesser Known and Coffee and a Comic. And Ryan, where can they find your show? Tell us what's going on. Throw in your plugs.
Okay, so thank guys. It's just so weird because like we chat regularly, so it's like it's not like I'll see you down the road kind of thing. It's like I'll probably send you a random thought tomorrow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so man, I've been running with my main show, Cross the Bifrost, the Mighty Thor podcast, for a while, where every single episode we dig into the world of Marvel's mightiest hero. So this year I'm doing something really ambitious, and Brandon gets to be a part of this coming up, and I'm hoping, Brandon, that you get to be a part of covering one of the volumes of Jason Aaron's run as well.
Yes,
I'm covering. Yes, and we got, damn it, we got so many.
He's so excited.
We got. Well, I honestly am, because we're gonna cover every single issue of Jason Aaron's Thor run, leading up to Thor: Love and Thunder this summer.
Ooh.
So it's an ambitious thing, and I think we can do it. So we got a lot of cool things coming up. Brandon's going to be on an episode. We're going to get Brandon on another episode. I got a lot of great guests lined up, and I've got another side project. Do you mind if I plug my other side project?
All of it. Get it in there.
So doing another podcast, my wife and I are doing a podcast together called Muggles, Magic, and Mischief. If you are a Harry Potter fan and you enjoy the books, I have never read the books. My wife is like an aficionado about that series, so she's taking me chapter by chapter through that, and man, it is really good. I can't believe I never read these books.
I started reading them last year, actually. Like, I'm on book 4. They're really fucking great. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
I'm like 8 chapters into Sorcerer's Stone, and I'm just like, these books get longer. I'm a terrible reader. If it doesn't have pictures with it, I get confused. But you can, both of those shows have accounts. Across the Bifrost is at the Mighty Thor podcast on Instagram, and Muggles, Magic, and Mischief is just that name on Instagram. And those are my 2 main things. I do coming up soon, if you follow my personal page at I am Ryan Doze, I have another 3rd project in the works that I really hope pans out, because it might be the thing I'm most excited about this year. So I got a lot of cool shit going on that a few people care about. So that's really it. Thank you guys so much. I mean, this, again, it's an extension of the conversations we already have. Yeah. So I just really appreciate being on the show and chatting about this book. I mean, this book was insane.
Yeah.
And I was so glad we got to talk.
I'm so glad to have you on the show finally.
Yeah, thanks for coming on and chatting with us. I know we could talk way more, but
I know we're restraining ourselves.
It'd be 5 hours.
We said we did a 3-hour episode the first time we spoke and hung out ever, and that was on Thor. Yes. And then I was just like, this episode, I'm gonna make sure, because I'm editing it myself, it's gonna be an hour and 10 minutes, and then we're hitting the 2-hour mark coming up. I should have known. Like, you just can't. It's too exciting. We vibe too well. Ryan,
we're also collectively about to all get canceled by the comic book community. It's fine. We should be able to have these conversations.
We'll cover some of those volumes to back up our
I'll
shit,
read
too.
those books and I'll
Yeah.
still talk about them. And if you want to argue with me, I will politely disagree, but hear you out.
Maybe we'll do a live episode on some of the stuff we don't
Should.
like. And
Hey, guys, if you really want to ensure that all three of us get canceled with like old comic book lovers, I'll talk about my love of Tom Taylor for an hour, and we can all get canceled together.
Oh, there you go. Tom
that'll-
Taylor's a phenomenal writer.
yeah, I'm fucking down for that. I'll fucking have fun with that. Tom rules. He's gonna be another.
Yeah,
big
he's
one.
he's like the biggest sweetheart in real life too. I got to meet him and he took selfies with me and the dude
Shut
is,
Yeah,
up.
it was at
dude
Comic-Con.
is so awesome. If
He
he
was
ever
from
magically ever
Australia.
heard like here's this.
And he's an Aussie, which makes him like, a lot
Yeah.
cooler than us normies.
Um,
So, man, guys, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you so
Of
much.
course, Ryan, thank you so much. You can check out all of his links below. Make sure to like and subscribe all of his content. Keep up to date and keep an eye out for the God Butcher and the God Bomb episodes. I'm going to be on with you soon, and then we're going to line up stuff with you and Brandon. But guys, thanks for hanging.